All right, so I'm sitting here in Cologne with Scarra the day before everything starts, the main event starts at least. So, how are you?
I'm really tired. We just got in last night, and I think everyone woke up at 6 a.m. or like close to 7 this morning, and a lot of people maybe didn't get much sleep. And I got a lot less sleep than I thought. So I'm super tired. I'm gonna fix my sleep schedule by tomorrow though.
Is it like a premonition of things to come, or do you think that the entire team will pick themselves up for when the competition actually starts?
I think the entire team will be fine. But yeah, like everyone's just kind of resting today. Like 3 of our players didn't even show up for the games today because they were just not. They were like just gonna go to sleep or like readjust their schedules or something. So there's nothing too crazy for us. It's just we just got here, and so everyone's just kind of adjusting, getting used to jet lag.
Okay then, so I guess to get into the sort of nitty-gritty of the interview, you were obviously in a new uniform, so to speak, from after having been with Dignitas for at least 3 years, as far as I recall. So I mean, how's the transition been so far? It was a very tremendous occasion when it actually happened, so I'm just wondering how you feel. Have you been able to adapt anything at all, and how do you feel working with a new set of people?
It's really weird, honestly. I'm not used to looking at this when I go in the mirror and stuff like that. It's really awkward for me to wear colors that aren't yellow and black.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be something that I might get used to over a year. But honestly, right now, it's super strange. People don't recognize me. I don't recognize myself. So it's kind of weird. One of the big differences is that the fans for CLG are much more cutthroat. If I don't think, no, I'm serious. The big fans are all super cool. They're super chill. They're just you know what, man, Scar, you just do what you're doing, man. We appreciate what you've been doing. And CLG fans are if you don't cut this player, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, okay, well, they're very what's a good word for it? They're very passionate about what they do. We'll go with that word.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from that, I don't know. Nothing really has changed too much for me. I learn as I go, and so my last split, maybe I was the first time coaching seriously for team first split. I think that maybe I didn't do a great job, and that maybe I just generally have the opinion that coaches in the West could be a lot better. Because when I compare them to coaches in other sports, a lot of times, let's say for football, NBA, let's say what if something goes wrong in the sport, right? I mean, the first person you blame if your team loses in any other sport is the coach.
Yeah.
Because he's expected to carry the team, and so I feel the importance of that role isn't that high in League of Legends yet, and it's gonna be going toward that direction as the years progress and as we get more than maybe half a split of coaching in, because that's as far the most experience that Western coaches have, at least in North America.
It's a bit interesting to think that then, in terms of the coach, like you just explained here at the end, with most coaches actually don't get too long to actually gel with the team, aside from a split, because I guess Monte Cristo was the one that lasted the longest, but it's still sort of you expect them to maybe stay for longer than 1 split or 2 splits to be able to adapt to change the team towards what you want, rather, or to optimize them. So when you look at CLG, then obviously you played together with Science Spartan and you've coached him as well. So do you feel you're coming in sort of easy, so to speak, since you already know a guy that handles such a big part of the entire team, or do you feel it's you just take yourself water over the head?
Maybe with another team it'd be easy, but CLG has always had a lot of clashes in terms of out of the game, in-game stuff that make it quite a difficult team to coach. I don't necessarily think that regardless of what team I coach, I don't consider my job easy. I always think there's always something else you could be doing, something better that you could be doing, and so it's that's what I try to do every day. I just try to find out ways that I can improve myself, and try to at the same time absorb a lot of information to prepare myself to become a smarter individual, so to speak.
Last split when you coached Dignitas, and I'm not making any assumptions here since I obviously don't know, but it's sort of been this trend where I guess teams, an iconic member of a team retires and then they become the coach, and I guess that's the most notable was in the case with the Odd One, where after he actually became the coach, the team just didn't respect him in a way because his coaching abilities at least, or it didn't go through.
Odd One was never a coach for TSM.
Really?
Yeah, Odd One literally went from he's the official announcement was that he was like going to be helping the team from the side, but essentially all he did was he went to full-time streaming and it's fully supported by TSM. But he was never considered the coach for that team officially.
Today I learned. In any case, then, do you feel like you had the maximum impact in terms of coaching with Dignitas because you played with them so much, or do you feel like that thing came in between you and being able to coach them?
I think there was a lot of positives and negatives to what I did. Obviously, positives were that I knew the players like super well. I knew like ins and outs, like how they responded to certain things, what they needed in terms of motivation to be able to push forward. But it also hampered my judgment sometimes because it was hard for me to really focus on objectively on players that I felt like I was really, really close to. So it was both a good and maybe a bad thing as well. And the fact that it was my first split means that I ended up learning through making mistakes a lot. And I feel like whatever happens in life, like you're going to learn through making mistakes. But generally you want to try to minimize mistakes and stuff like that. But since that was my first split, like I ended up making like a lot of things that maybe didn't work out as well as I thought, or maybe did, but there's better ways to do them. And I thought that, it was like a really big learning experience for me, rather than like, even now, like on COG, I'm learning like a lot of stuff every day, and so I'm hoping to transition that into making like the team just better.
How do you feel like how far have you come then in terms of like when you came there? Do you notice like an immediate improval or anything similar?
I feel like okay, if I was like maybe like it's hard to quantify because I don't want to make myself look too bad or like come off in the bad sense, but I feel like I probably like maybe twice as good as when I started on Dig, way more than that actually, because when I started on Dig I knew nothing, but I think there's still like a really wide gap between what I'm doing right now and what I can be doing. Like I feel like there's just like a lot more that's possible in my job, and so I honestly don't know how to answer that question. Like I think that's a question where you learn your limits when you are like really, really good at what you do, but at the moment I'm like the sky's the limit for me, and so maybe might see my ceiling like a year down the line. But for now, I don't really see a ceiling in my profession at the moment.
But then, like, what is it that you feel as a coach then that you feel like you aren't able to do now that you maybe will be able to do sooner? You know, like if you can give a specific example.
For instance, there are situations that come up, like whether like situations where you're looking to get a player to do something specific, right? And there's like a couple different variations you can do. Like let's say in the game you need him to ward a specific area at a specific time. A lot of how you become like a good coach is I feel like implementation is the hardest thing as a coach. It's what separates good coaches from people who want to be coaches. Because I could tell anyone could tell you you're bad at the game, or anyone could tell you should have done this, but how you get from you should have done this, which is the problem, to like actually doing it, the solution, that's like the hardest part. And I feel like maybe implementation right now I could be doing it in more effective ways. Like maybe the way I'm doing it right now, if you want to ward this bush, like you should be looking to buy a ward on looking on like every back to buy like 2 wards if you're ahead, and just like being very cautious of the jungler at these specific timings. But maybe in the future I'm just like, all that was useless. Like don't think of it like that. Like you should be thinking of it like you look at your wave and you look at how you manage your wave, and then when you push up you want to be warding at this specific angle and at this specific timing as well. And then maybe later I'm like, it's not about wave management, it's not about any of that. Like it's about like you communicating with your jungler in mid lane and you guys eventually pushing yourselves into the jungle, and then you get a ward that way rather than any of the 2 prior ones. And so right now it's like my implementation I feel like is like good in some areas, but it could just be improved, I feel. And so like I don't know what's optimal, and that's kind of what I'm learning right now.
So rough estimates, how do you think the team will perform here, Cologne, and further down the line, how do you think you'll perform in 2015 in the LCS?
To be honest, I have very high expectations, and I don't really have a reasonable reason why. Because we're coming in with a substitute player, not going to be our main roster. And even though they're coming in with a substitute player as well, like at some point that player was like one of the best mids in Korea at the time, like, and they've been scrimming for the longest amount of time of any Asian European team. They've been scrimming for almost like 1.5 to 2 months now, and we've been scrimming with our substitute player for maybe like 2 weeks. But for some reason, I feel like if we beat Rocat, we'll do really, really well. We expect to win I expect us to win the tournament if we beat Rocat. I feel like Rocat will probably be the hardest opponents at this event. But it's hard to really say, you know. Like I really come in and be like, yeah, I think we're gonna get first. And I think I said that in another interview. I was like, yeah, we're gonna get first. But I like respect Rocat's opponent. I respect like everyone at them. Like I think Dig and Gambit potentially may be really good as well. But I haven't seen them play personally, and so I really have no opinion of them as it is. So I would just really like to win. I'm just excited to see the games, to be honest.
Okay, then moving into like LCS 2015, is it the same there then, where when you have Xmidi in the lineup to your full 5, that you just expect yourself to, do you just like have super high expectations there too, or?
Yeah, I think I have really high expectations, you know. It sucks because we can't use him at this event, and we found out like kind of late, so we had to bring in someone as a sub. But in general, I feel very confident in the roster that we fielded, and I think that he will be very good. I think our roster will be very good. Of course, time will tell, and you know, I always like my results to speak more than my words, and so you know, maybe like in week 5 we're doing super well, 7-0, and I could be like, well, we're doing well. If I say like right now I think we're gonna be the best, and we're like the best team in the middle of the split, I can just be like, I told you so. Yeah. But I'd rather just be like, okay, well, we'll see how it works out, you know.
Okay, so I don't really have anything more to add, so final words yours.
I don't have too much to say, you know. I think generally I feel very happy to be here. I think it's the first time internationally traveling for 1 or 2 of our players, and in general, like, it's been a long time since I've traveled in a while, and so it's still really weird because like rather than thanking Dignitas fans, I thank CLG fans. So, but you know, I like to thank my fans, and I like to thank all the CLG fans that support me. I guess all the old Dig fans that support me as well, and I also like to thank all the CLG sponsors. Aside from that, I don't really know. It's been a while since I've been interviewed, but yeah, no, that's it. I'm good.
Thanks a ton.